Today, we're digging into the evolution of project management, and it's quite a journey, stretching from the master builders of ancient wonders all the way to the teams creating the smart cities of tomorrow.
So let's dive right into this evolution. We're going to look at how the whole idea of a blueprint has been completely reimagined, shifting from, a static document to a living, breathing process.
The idea of managing massive projects is as old as civilization itself. But the formal discipline, the rulebook we use today, well, that's a much, much more recent invention.
And you can really see the progression here, can't you? We went from the intuitive genius of one single master builder to these structured, repeatable methods. Post-World War II systems like the critical path method, or CPM, they allowed for a scale and complexity that was just unimaginable before, and they really set the stage for the global standards we have now.
Okay, so this whole push for standardization gave us our first truly dominant methodology, and it's one that I'm sure many of you in the construction world know very, very well, the waterfall method.
The name really says it all, doesn't it? It's a super structured approach, designed for projects where you can pretty much define the entire scope right from the get-go. Each phase just cascades into the next with very little, if any, overlap.
Think about building a classic high-rise. You absolutely need all your permits secured and that foundation fully poured and cured before you can even dream of putting up the steel frame. Waterfall is just a perfect, logical fit for this kind of predictable, sequential work.
And that predictability, that's its greatest strength. But it's also its biggest weakness. It's Achilles' heel. I mean, what happens when the client wants a major design change after the structure is already halfway up? The cost and time to go back up the waterfall can be absolutely enormous.
So this exact problem, this need for flexibility, especially in super fast-moving fields like software, but now also in design and engineering, it sparked a revolution. It was clear it was time for a totally new approach.
And this right here is the perfect way to think about the shift. You see, Agile isn't necessarily a replacement for Waterfall. Think of it as a different tool for a totally different kind of problem. It's built for those environments where you expect, and honestly, you even welcome change.
So instead of having one giant, all-encompassing blueprint, Agile works with lots of small, iterative ones. A construction design team, for instance, can use these Agile sprints to rapidly update and refine their building information modeling, or BIM, and they can get feedback from stakeholders every couple of weeks instead of waiting for months.
And all of this naturally leads us to the most powerful and, frankly, practical approach being used today, combining the best of both of these worlds into what we call a hybrid model.
And the impact? It's significant. We're talking about complex projects, especially in modern construction, that have seen up to a 30% reduction in costly design rework just by using a tailored hybrid model. That's a massive saving in both time and money.
So what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's take a modern stadium. You'd probably use a waterfall approach for the really predictable phases, like getting permits. But for designing all the complex interior systems, you'd switch to an agile framework like Scrum to stay flexible. And all the while, you might use a governance model like Prince2 to keep a tight rein on risk across the entire project. So, where is all this headed? What's the next frontier? Well, as you can probably guess, technology is pushing project management to evolve all over again.
Just think about it for a second. We have AI that can now predict schedule overruns before they even happen. We have drones providing real-time site data that was once impossible to get. And as project timelines get shorter and shorter, these tools aren't just a nice-to-have, they're an absolute necessity. And they all point back to our core theme. Adaptability is the single most critical skill for any project manager today.
And this gets to the heart of it. At the end of the day, whether you're a student just starting out or a seasoned pro on a job site, all the methodologies, they're just tools. The real skill is in managing people, adapting to constant change, and successfully turning a vision into a reality.
So the real takeaway is this. The blueprints for our projects and for our profession, they're always going to be changing. The real question we have to ask ourselves is our toolkit ready to change with them?